All right, are we live? Okay. All right. Make sure this is. Maybe I should probably turn on this. Okay, there you go. How's it going, everybody? Sorry, sometimes I have to adjust my camera here. Um. All right. There's a lot to cover today. Not just because of Future Man season 2, the embargo has lifted, so I'll be coming back doing live stream reviews of those episodes. But there's a lot of news that happened and I can't cover all of them, obviously, but I want to cover this one to get your thoughts on it. This has been trending for quite some time. This past, I want to say this past 12 hours. I think. Okay, so let me give you the context. Kevin Hart returns to Ellen DeGeneres show, or Ellen as you call it, and it was a tape thing, right? It was, I think, it was taped yesterday. So in this episode of Ellen Show, Kevin Hart and Ellen talked about or addressed the issue about Kevin Hart controversy, Oscar controversy. Now, let me give you a refresher, a reminder. Kevin Hart was supposed to host the 2019 Oscars. It was, it was awesome. I'm a big fan of Kevin. I was like, oh my God, Kevin's gonna host the Oscars. That's awesome. But then trolls on the internet, I don't know, through maybe they have nothing better to do in their life, or they got nothing better to spend their time on, so they dig up old tweets from decade ago about Kevin Hart's terrible LGBTQ joke. So I'm not defending the jokes. So I think what he said in those jokes are not funny, man. Are not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because, like, I'm shaking my head. Like, it's unbelievable. Um, so it led to Kevin Hart defending himself on Twitter. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna apologize. I've already addressed this issue a long time ago. We have to take his word for it. At least I haven't seen it. So it's like, I don't want to apologize. You guys are just trolls trying to ruin my career. And so he got really defensive, and he got confrontational about it. And the Academy told Kevin, hey, you got to apologize. Otherwise, we're going to have to move on and find a new host. And so one led to another. And eventually, or ultimately, like, about, I want to say, in a span of like less than 2 days since the announcement of Kevin Hart as being the Oscar host, in less than 2 days, Kevin Hart tweeted once again. It's like, hey, I apologize to the LGBTQ community, and I'm withdrawing myself from, or I'm stepping down from hosting this year's Oscar. So that's a refresher for you guys. And so now we have this. Kevin Hart is on Ellen, and Kevin Hart talks about the whole thing. Oh my God, I'm so, being an Oscar host is part of my bucket list. It's part of my goals. And then he says something along the lines, and you can watch it. You can watch those videos on Ellen's YouTube. Ellen has a YouTube channel. It's like, oh, but these trolls, man. He's like, they're trying to ruin my career. I mean, I got people working underneath me, people depending on my brand, to make their living. And I was like, oh my God, they're trying to ruin me. And Ellen, on her side, she's like, you know what? I call the Academy. I call the Academy, and I want to get you reinstated. And the Academy told me, and I quote here. I don't want to put words in Ellen's mouth, so let me give you the exact quote. I called them. I said, Kevin is on. I have no idea if he wants to come back and host, but what are your thoughts? And they were like, oh my God, we want him to host. We feel that he may have misunderstood, or it was handled wrong. Maybe we said the wrong thing, but we want him to host. Whatever we can do, we would be thrilled, and he should host the Oscars. So, okay, I got a lot of thoughts about this. Before we break it down, I just want to say that by this point, at this minute, the Academy still hasn't picked a replacement host. So I think we may be going to the first Oscars in, I don't know, in a long while that doesn't have a host. I don't know how that's going to turn out, if it's going to be a good show without a host. But we still got this month and next month, because the Oscars is in the last Sunday of February. So, um, okay, I mentioned to you about in my previous videos about this controversy of Kevin Hart that number one, Kevin made a mistake. Now, by that, I'm not talking about the tweet mistake. Those tweets are a mistake, but the way he handled it was a mistake. Um, to For him to assume that, oh my God, I've already addressed this 5 years ago, but not a lot, not a lot of people probably. I mean, I know millions of people follow your tweet, but I haven't seen those 5 years ago tweet. You know what I'm saying? I'm just My point is that there are some people who may not have seen that. So the way Kevin Hart should have handled it is he should have just apologized. I mean, it's a it's a it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but that's part of being an adult, being a grown up. Sometimes we have to keep being, saying sorry for the same thing, and it gets really exhausting. I get it, and it gets under your skin. You get defensive, and you get like, oh my God, why do I have to say apology again? But in this case, it doesn't hurt him to do so. If he wants to host, like, that's the requirement. Yeah. And there's some people who may not have seen that apology from 5 years ago, if that is when he actually addressed it. And so I think that should have been handled better by Kevin on Kevin's part. He got really defensive and confrontational. I think that never results well for anybody to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna apologize, take it or leave it. It's like, take it or leave it approach can work sometimes in some cases, but it's not advisable in this one. So that's number one. I think that he should have handled it a lot better. He should have apologized early. So what? So what? So what? So what if you have apologized for it 1,000 times over? So what? So what? Just say it again. And number two, I agree with Kevin in that there are some trolls out there, just like the trolls that brought down James Gunn, that they have nothing better to do in their life but to go back a decade ago and dig up old tweets. Oh my God! Oh, let's take his career down. Let's ruin his career. It's like there are people like that, malicious people like that. Unfortunately, the same guys that took down James Gunn and some other people. And I want Kevin Hart to still host the Oscars. I want him to get reinstated, to get rehired. So back to the question at hand. The question of the title of this video: is it right for Ellen DeGeneres to get or to call the Academy and to try to get Kevin Hart reinstated as Oscar host? Well, the answer to that is a mixed bag. First of all, and this is my opinion. If you have different opinions about it, please let me know in the chat or in the comment section below. The optics, the perception, the way people perceive this may not go well. It may not go well. The optics of it. Look, I get it. Ellen DeGeneres has hosted the Oscars before in the past. Remember that one where her selfie with all the celebrities, that selfie went viral. It's like, I think it went on Guinness Book of World Record, the most retweeted or most reshared viral photo online. And she did fantastic job hosting that evening. So I get it. As a former Oscar host, Ellen DeGeneres feels like, okay, I may have some influence here with the Academy, because I did a good job for them, and I have a good rapport. I'm on their good side. Maybe I could call them and say, hey, can you reconsider, or you can consider rehiring Kevin Hart? I get it. I totally get it. And also, Ellen DeGeneres herself is a comedian, so there's that, camaraderie, right? Solidarity. Hey, we comedians have to stick together. I'll look out for you. You look out for me. And number three, she's part of the LGBTQ community, but that also part of what that goes with the optics thing. I'm not part of the LGBT community, but I don't know how the LGBT community would accept this, or would perceive this at least, the idea that Ellen DeGeneres is supposedly the be all end all communicator or representation, like they're the leader. Like, okay, so because I have absolved Kevin Hart, that means you guys, the LGBTQ community, should also absolve or accept Kevin Hart. I don't know how that could be one way it may get perceived. Again, the optics. Um, and I don't know if that's gonna go well. It's like I get it. Ellen DeGeneres is one of the most influential people in the world. If Ellen DeGeneres says, "Hey, I want you to buy this product," her fans will buy that product in a heartbeat, and that product will get sold out. Um, so, but in this case, I don't know. I don't know how the optics of that will be. And number two, this can go into also the whole white savior thing. Oh my God! So the white LGBTQ community has to, defend Kevin Hart, and this white savior has to defend this, or rescue. That's the word I was looking for. Rescue this black comedian. It doesn't look good. The optics doesn't look good. I'm sorry to play the race card, but that could be also one of the perceptions out there. So I think, though, even though I'm sure that Ellen's intention to call the Academy and to get Kevin Hart reinstated, even though the intention comes from a good place, come from like, hey, I mean well with this. I mean well. I don't mean anything malicious about it. It's not a white savior thing. It's not me telling LGBTQ community that, hey, you got to accept Kevin because I accept Kevin. Even though the intention may come from a good place, in a way, I think it's something that should have been resolved between Kevin and the Academy. I don't know if it needs Ellen DeGeneres as a mediator or a referee in this matter. And it also makes it feel like, oh my God, the Academy just kind of grovels at the feet of Ellen. And that's another optics that doesn't look good either. It's like, because Kevin, just because Ellen DeGeneres calls and the Academy says, "Oh yes, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. This whole thing was misunderstood. We handled it wrong, and okay, we still want him to host." And that doesn't look good either. I'm judging it based on what Ellen says the Academy told her on the phone. So there's a lot of things here that just doesn't look good optic wise, unfortunately, for Kevin and Ellen, because Ellen is trying to help Kevin. I get it. She means well, but it won't come across right to the people perceiving it. Now, again, I still want Kevin Hart to host the Oscars. I don't think that anybody should be judged or scolded, or be put in career jail just because of what they tweet a decade ago. People change, unless people. I'm a big believer that people can't change. Like, you can't change people. Like, you can't put effort to, like, oh, I'm gonna try to change him or her. They have to change themselves. They have to come to that realization themselves. And I believe that Kevin Hart has. Again, Kevin Hart did not handle the whole thing well in the beginning. But when he stepped down, he did tweet an apology. It took him a while. He should have done it early on, but he did tweet an apology as he stepped down. So I do believe that he's not in that place anymore where he actually makes LGBTQ jokes. Maybe he should go a little further this time. Maybe he actually has to put some effort and actually, I don't know, shows his involvement in the LGBTQ community or LGBT cause or LGBT foundations. Maybe he should do that now, and more and more. Maybe that's one thing he can do to amend himself. But that doesn't, and that's fine. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that, okay, Kevin Hart should not host the Oscars. I think or James Gunn should not make Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because terrible kid jokes that he did a decade ago. If they feel sorry about what they said, and and I feel genuine. I feel like their apologies are genuine, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago." Um, and then yeah, why not, dude? Why not? We should not put Kevin Hart or James Gunn or all these guys on the same level as, I don't know, Louis C.K. or Kevin Spacey or Harvey. No, those guys are actual assaulters and harassers. Now, that's not Kevin Hart. That's not Kevin Hart or James Gunn. Um, I think they're just terrible joke teller at one point in their time. Um, Even comedians can bomb. Comedians can. It's not to excuse it. Okay, I'm not defending those terrible, terrible LGBTQ jokes by Kevin Hart. Um, but if you look up like a long time ago, Eddie Murphy did a stand-up comic back in the 70s or 80s. Man, some of the things he said will be considered horrible in today's world, and rightfully so. Um, and society changes, and that's a good thing. We have to be more accepting, more sensitive, be more considerate towards each other, and be more inclusive. As one equal people. So and maybe the jokes on the comedy world should also evolve with that, and that's fine. But to have Kevin Hart, um, not be allowed to make another movie or not be allowed to host an Oscar, um, under the presumption that, oh, Kevin Hart, doesn't change, or Kevin Hart cannot change. Kevin Hart is still that homophobic joke teller Kevin Hart 10 years ago. No, no, no. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. So again, I don't think it's. I think this might backfire. This whole Ellen DeGeneres calling the Academy, asking Kevin Hart to host the Oscars again, or reinstated, or rehired to host the Oscars. Um, the optics is just not good, man. The optics, for those reasons I just mentioned earlier, the optics is not good. If Kevin Hart does get reinstated to host the Oscars, everybody from that point on till forever will always remember that as, oh, it's because Ellen DeGeneres got his job back. So it's not gonna be on. It's not on Kevin's Hart. It's not on Kevin Hart's own merit. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, Kevin. I mean, oh, Ellen. The savior. It's Ellen, so Ellen gets the applause, and the optics is just not good. I totally get Ellen wants to help, but the optics is just not good. I don't think. I don't know. I don't know if it answers whether it's right or wrong for Ellen DeGeneres to help. But the perceive or the perception of people of that will not be good. Will not be good. So that's my thought. That's my opinion about this topic. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it's right for Ellen DeGeneres to call the Academy and to help get Kevin Hart reinstated? And do you think Ellen DeGeneres is the ultimate, I guess, speaker, be all end all for the LGBTQ community? That is like, oh, if Ellen says it's Kevin Hart's okay, then the whole community has to also accept Kevin. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to hear your opinion about this. And as always, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Press that like button and share this video with everybody and their grandmas. And support me on patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.